My name is Lazarus. Full name is Fung, and this is my first time I know that I'm recommended by several person. And today's topic is multimodal mapping. And for my sections, I would like to talk about mapping between technology, human activity, and cultural objects. And for sure, with artistic. So for today, the whole sharing of the talk will be divided in 4 parts. I will briefly introduce my art practice because my art practice actually is quite diverse. I do sound, I do some kind of electronic device, and I also write software and graphics. And today I will pick up 2 specific artworks as Multimodal 2 and Scripting Me 24 for the whole, give you an artistic journey that go through the whole concept about mapping between human activity, culture, and technology. That's why firstly introduce my art practice. So my art practice involves science, natural science, I suppose is, and digital imaging. I always like to play with camera, write my own software to capture images, manipulate pixels, play with AI, and my starting point actually is some generative system that create graphics. My first question is how to create a smooth curves inside a screen. Like if you want to create a curve, basically you have to calculate with sine, cosine, and tangent, something like that. But the result, as an artistic result, as an artist, to perceive that curve is mechanical. It's not organic, it's not happening inside the screen. That's why my first attempt to create a curve in a screen is to using some gravitational formula and using a tractor, calculate a virtual gravity and virtual brush to create this kind of generative drawing or painting. And also, because of some time I need to work on some interactive installation, so that's why I need to work on my own electronic device. Maybe it's a wireless or like a traditional electronics device for button, something like that, I also do so. And for that is other art projects, but I don't have time to go through all of that. So if you are interested in those, like this one actually is from CMHK. It's a project I did in The Hague and in III, and involved with Karen. CMHK, are you here, Karen? Oh, okay. So basically, keywords is digital imaging, soundscape, electronic device, algorithmic art, generative art, stuff like that. But what does mapping mean to me? Like, what is mapping itself? It could divide in 2 dimensions. Like, for sure, you could map data stream. Like, you got a MIDI keyboard, and then you got software, and then something happening on the screen, and then just play. And for this example, it's just one commission work I just did with the City University, and this one actually is a Kung Fu master, and she's doing Tai Chi. And then with this video, I could, using an AI assistant motion capture software, and then do the blah, 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 do all the magical stuff, and to make a real-time interactive animation. It makes sense, right? It so makes sense. It's nearly like the input and the output. It's like logical input, logical output. But my answer is, technically, mapping for me is blending 2 real kinds of objects or concepts together with harmony and reasoning. So if it makes sense, blend them together as an input and as the output. But my interest is actually, what about beyond the technical? Like, what are there? Like, because the technology will keep advance. And we could imagine all the special effects in Harry Potter, like moving graphics on a newspaper. It will happen one day. Then how humans interact with those medium. Like, by some sense, like mapping, eventually it will happen within narrative, within cultural objects, and the technological advancement. It is like a historical movement driven our history. So I select 2 artworks for today. And first one is, I just mentioned, is Pneuma.2. And I will go through an artistic journey with you. Again, I just mentioned it once more. And actually, I want to briefly introduce those background of this artwork first, because I couldn't explain the whole picture of these 2 artworks, my self-expression, my feeling, those sort of things. But I want to use these 2 artworks to relate to today's topics, like how it relates to multimodal mapping. And so, Pneuma.2 actually is an investigation or representations of a hypothetical universal language. Universal language, you could perceive it like gesture, thinking, your thought, your speech, your sound, maybe your movement, stuff like that. But some specialists, like they try to find it, is there any universal language behind our language? So is there any rules or any logics behind that? So actually I started play with speech, symbol, semantics. So the next one will be to move on from semantics. From language, I move on to cultural objects, like how language are incorporated with cultural objects. Like in the Chinese culture, we got the Tongsheng. I will explain it later, how it works with the large language model and how it could relate it. We still have the same momentum, still have the same goal in our human society. So Pneuma.2 mainly is mapping human activity and language. Keywords will be breath, sound, speech, word, meaning, and language. Actually, I create an installation, interactive installation with an electronic device that you could blow into the device, and then it creates symbol on the screen. Actually, it works like this. So like a flute, you blow to the flute, and then create those symbols. And the symbol actually are agents that wandering within the screen. Then, actually it comes from my daily practice. My daily practice, by that time, I actually, mostly every day I need to code, like open my computer, code everywhere, like just need to code. And my interest is when I do Google search, when I do code, there's some auto fill in suggestions for you, how it happened. I want to know it, like why, how it know my interest, how my data now is on the internet, how the language, how the symbol are combining together, become a meaningful object. Then I investigate into like the standard code of information interchange, like this chart, and then I find out how about I just use the alphabet and I deconstruct the alphabet. How about I see the alphabet as graphic, and then I deconstruct it into basic graphical form, and with multiple agency to create random action, what it will be. So the result for single screen, it will be like this. So imagine the audience come to my exhibition and create some symbol during the exhibition period, and those symbols keep floating wandering inside the screen. Maybe they are searching for meaning, I don't know. Something we couldn't understand within this system, within the software and program. And something happened actually. During the exhibition period, I find out the system could actually create mystical symbol that I recognize. Like because I started from A to Z, but why here is Chinese character? Why here is a cloud? Why is a pie heart shape? Stuff like that. If back to like a modern linguistic theory, it's about semantics, how we perceive language and our cultural context and the signifier stuff. I don't want to go too deep, but actually, it's based on our cultural context, where you're from, what you have learned throughout your life, and then you find out meaning. Maybe that's the basics of language itself. And most of my artworks, my friend will say you're like doing reverse engineering about our world. Like you start at questions to experiment, and then reverse engineering with your artwork, and then we could find out some key element or the logics behind how the world works. Then I move on to the next artwork, Scripting Me 24, because now I know, oh, there's something happening, like within the word, sentence, language. But how from language, technology, culture to folk religion, how it could work. Like, because I really want to work with technology in a humanity perspective or philosophical thinking stuff. Then this is just an artwork I finished in Japan, Akita. The reason why I want to work on this artwork is throughout a year, continuously interact with large language model, different versions of that. I find out something weird happen. Like my working pace or daily routine goes so fast. Like sometimes my brain couldn't cooperate with that. Like, because I got several AI, I got my AI crew actually in my studio. Even now, they are still working. But my brain, like accidentally you become a boss of a company, now you could buy your employees and they work automatically 24 hours. And sometimes I feel stressful, my brain couldn't cooperate with that. And then also realize that different model from different cultural contexts, they have different perspective on the world. If you ask questions, I just finished an experiment with two large language model. One is from China, one is from US. I asked them like, what will happen for the next 10 years in Hong Kong ASEAN? And they have common ground, and they have something, they are disagreeing with each other, something weird like happening. It reflects our culture, reflects our human condition now. So throughout the whole process, I would like to say is actually the large language model, or throughout this natural language processing, actually it's a compression of our culture. How I would say like this, because one of the essential steps if you want to work with language in machine learning, you have to go through a step called word embedding or embedding. Actually, it's technically so related to today's topics. Actually, it's turn word into factor point, into numbers that you could calculate with. And the schematic is like this. Finger into 44.1, circle 33.9, something like this. It's mapping your experience or how you like to express yourself into numbers. everything now you think that you couldn't become data, actually it already become data. And then I would like to claim throughout these selections, because we have to go through as one more crucial step, is to dimension reduction, is to reduce those numbers, and then connect those numbers. Like here is a beautiful nearby is success, succeed, cheer, word like this. It creates relations between words. But who did it? Why? It still need to go through a cultural context step. And that's why I also find out people now like to ask all kinds of questions to ChatGPT, to your AI assistants. Actually, we did it in ancient times. This is Tongxing. This is a book of everything. You could learn English, you could, and then you will learn English like the previous generations. And then it gives you suggestions, what you should do, what you should not do, what you could do, what you could not do per day. But now, if I want to reimagine the Tongxing with AI, the Tongxing with large language model, what it will be, and it is still day by day, or the common ground. What are the common ground? Actually, the common ground is to ensure you'll be safe, to ensure you could predict a part of your future. Why you want to ask advice with ChatGPT? Because you got something you're not sure about. You got questions you couldn't answer. You want to predict your near future, far future, or just right now, you want the answer, and you open the book, you open ChatGPT. That's why I, just few weeks ago, actually, 3 or 2 weeks ago, China open source a large language model called QWEN, and I'm so lucky that I could download this and and I use this large language model offline, ask the model 1 or 2 simple questions. But this time I want to create a Tongxing like cultural objects with specific questions, and the time frame is not day by day, it's per second, because I want to express my stress, like this is the working place. You need to do things, you need to think per second, you need to be precise. Humans now need to be precise, and the machine need to be generative. Hilarious, right? Machine being creative, human, more like a machine now. Ask the model, write down the schedule that Fung should do on what hour, what minutes, what second. Give the model one simple idea that, who am I? You could easily search it, this information online, just short introduction about me. Then something interesting happened. This is the first result and 0.0.0, just midnight. The AI model thinks that I need to do the following stuff. I translated into English with AI. And then Channel Phone need to prepare generative artworks. Channel Phone need to start an automatic data visualization generative art program. This program can analyze, process the data in real time. Lots of order I need to do. Actually, I still have to prepare my social media. I still have to activations of my interactive sound installation, and then prepare an online platform and or creative journal. Yeah, so much thing to work on. But as I just mentioned, this is a compression of our culture. This is the expectations from my mother country. If you want to be a successful artist in Hong Kong or being a Chinese Hong Kong successful artist, follow this model. You will be successful. Then, for sure, I generate 8,000, 80,000 something from like Tongxing compositions and fill in those texts inside this software. And then make it as a video, then you will see you could never process the information. It's overwhelming, overflow your mind, but this know everything. That's why, to conclude, maybe it's better my artwork is maintain my perspective, like scientific and technological development, investigate into the detail, find out meaning within that, and let's see what we could do as an artist in the future and right now. That's the end.